Sanwanani. Welcome back to my channel. As you know, this is Journey to Self with Ufanele Ntwilu Mampemba Usompisi Ukotiti Untela Ukubona Yabo sengisho usompisi. Anyways, the point is we're back with another episode, and this is a space of vulnerability, a space of conversation where we come as we are and we share our different layers and phases that we're going through, embracing it all, feeling it all, letting go of what doesn't serve us, and obviously embracing how we morph into other beautiful life's levels. So yeah, the last episodes that we recorded were bulk. So this is the first time after Revamp has launched that I'm coming to do recordings. Hoo-wee. So before I even launched the Revamp, Uma asked to watch the first episode. And we I'm in con. So I'm just like, oh my goodness, what is she gonna say? What is she gonna say? And then she watched the first episode when I was on my Google Drive. We are born with there's 2 other episodes that we've recorded. So she was like, before comment. So there we go. And when I asked her for feedback, what I can add, I can subtract. And yeah, that was it. That was it. But I think most importantly, maybe one day we'll have her here, but I think she's very proud because she was also part of the Facebook process where ngang mbuzo, and then I was answering them honestly, and she ended up being the last person to answer the final question when I went through that journey of doing reflective questions on Journey to Self. I wanted to just share how the experience has been since I've posted the Revamp. And I don't know, man. It felt like ngathi ngiqala kabusha. I don't know, maybe because it's a beautiful setting or nami just sengi serious, but it was nerve-wracking when I was posting the first video that's saying Woodsy, a new episode is coming. And when it finally TX'd, I was just like, oh my goodness, this feels very vulnerable. This feels very exposing. But I was literally a person who would say, okay, I'm scheduling this for 9 a.m. So poster, leave it to what it's gonna do because I have no control on who watches and so on and so forth. But it has been a very fulfilling space. It has been a very exposing space because sometimes I watch Pela so that I know what I'm uploading and so on and so forth. And sometimes you're just like, "Ish, ngikhuluma kakhulu," you know? But more than anything, I think I will always appreciate how I was obedient to just taking it seriously and taking myself seriously and just making the proper initiative ukuthi mangithi ngenza into ngiyenze wholeheartedly and not shortchange it or ngenzele ukuthi ngigcine icala. So that has been a nice side to experience of myself. Ukuthi I remember a phase where it's either ngisekamereni or ngangise-lounge, and depending on how noisy, because indlu yasendlini is very close to umgaqo nomsindo. So if I felt like the dogs are barking too loud, people are just constantly up and down, I'll just stop recording and that's it. And then if I don't post, it's fine. So with this, it's like set time, you're coming to studio, you're doing this and this. And I'm a person that also very thrives in routine. So it's been nice to have an addition of that into my scheduling. I don't think it gets any easier though, because the responsibility of speaking over people's lives can be very taxing, but it's a continuous trust exercise with God. Ukuthi, wherever you place me, whatever you place in my heart, give me the words to articulate kahle. One thing that was unexpected with the whole podcast revamp and so on and so forth, and the consistent posting on social media, I've been invited to a couple of spaces to speak. Njengoba ngirekhoda manje, there's going to be a women's event that I'm going to go to where I'm going to be talking about mental health. I have another one booked for, I think it's September in Joburg. I've recently just got back from East London, where I was a guest speaker at a child's mhlonyane. Nalapho nje ngithi, "Hawu, why are you flying me up?" But it was a very validating experience because they were just like, we like how you navigate life. Siyabthanda wena and the values and the morals that you stand for. And I feel like you'll be able to speak life into the young girls that we'll have there. And as they experience different phases of life, we really feel like you'll be one person that will be able to give them nuggets to carry on to the next phases. So I flew to East London and they booked the hotel. It was a very lovely experience. But in my head, I'm also just like, it's just to finale, guys. It's just, But it's been interesting just to see what platforms open when you decide to be obedient. Because there was no foresight in me thinking, "Utai boyazi, when I do this, this is gonna happen." I just took the first step, and then God had the next 10 steps in how He ordered and orchestrated everything. So it has been humbling, humbling, humbling. But I think it's also something I've always desired, to be put in spaces, but also being put in spaces, being confident of what I'm going to speak. So the practicality of that has been quite exciting. And I think it also just keeps me in line, ekuthenini how I walk and navigate impilo, to always know there are eyes watching, and not necessarily ukuthi saying toward the line just to make sure ukuthi they validate me, but it's just like there are people watching and what I'm doing matters. And as long as the seeds that I'm planting are positive, then Mantuli, keep at it. But also, I also think the past episodes have been very throwback, in the sense that I've talked about izinto esengazenza, like the reflective questions, writing letters to my family, and so on and so forth. I think manje, go bang makeup, silly makeup, so that it feels like a literal unveiling. Because now I think it's time I share where my current headspace is, what I'm navigating, Um, so foundation, your journey to self, we've laid down, but I think it's time says ukuthi kuduman like kandalam, and my heart posture. So I think the question that I'd like to address today about me is just understanding how I'm doing, like mentally, spiritually, psychologically, all of that stuff. And then it's just going to keep trickling to the coming episodes as well, and how my heart is doing. I'm in a state of gratitude. I'm in a state of gratitude. I think I've experienced so many build ups since having done the podcast, where it validates ukuthi no, man, the energy and the good intentions that I put out, it's translating into the people I surround myself with. It's translating in how I navigate emsebenzini. It's translating how I show up for myself as well, and how you also are able to extend grace to circumstances that are beyond your control. And it's also a way where I've reflected and seen with you should pat yourself on the back, because against all odds, you still remaining true to yourself. And I also see reaping fruits from the harvest. Ukuthi, I've sown so much into having good relations, into having intentional work done in me, so that even the next person, oh, gonna say, "Qoqa yena ukuthi, hhayi no, fanele, this is what I know her to stand for," and it's translating well. Especially the trip yase East London, really validated ukuthi that like you said, there's a market, but there are people that see me for who I am and embrace me for who I am. And there's nothing that I need to alter or change in order for me to feel like I matter and I'm valued. Just by the virtue of being myself, I matter, So me and God are good as well. Me and God are good. We had a little tug of war last week I had an audition and I didn't get it, and I actually two auditions. Yes, I still audition. Um, I auditioned and I didn't get the part. Lapo, especially the first one, I really, really wanted it. And then yeah, boy, message to I class, sorry, on to the next one type of thing. What was nice though, when that used to happen, that would feel like a personal rejection. That would feel like, oh, shooty, I'd question my skills or my talents and stuff like that. Whereas now it's just like I'm grateful for the opportunity, and I am only in control of what I put in terms of the cell tape or going to a live audition as well. I truly have no control over the outcome overall ukuthi bazongithatha noma ngeke bangithathe. But what I've learned to do ukuthi from the time ngithole brief ukuthi there's an audition, when I get it from my agent, I'm going to task it to God through prayer and while I prep and so on and so forth. Um, and then I show up and do what is needed. Outcome, shame, let God do what he needs to do. And over time, in trusting the patterns of how God has maneuvered my life and my career, yes, his plans are much greater than what I would reason them to be. But I've also come to accept ukuthi kuzoncinza kancane. So I do have that moment where I'm just like, I'm venting. I'm just like, I am mad. But once I am true to what I feel about the situation, it's easy for me to let go and look at it from ukuthi it was another person's moment and it was another person's answered prayer, and production literally has the right to choose whoever they want, and to also not be in a state of panic, because I think that's what sometimes umuntu focuses on ukuthi, oh, next ngizokwenza lokhu, next ngizokwenza lokhu, kanti I found that sometimes steals where you are in the present. Right now I've got a stable job, a production that actually wants me there, a character that I actually enjoy. I've got so much flexibility. I'm thriving in gym. I'm able to go ekhaya as much as I can go Massimo, sing Vumela and stuff like that. I'm able to show up for friends. So nginayo le flexibility engiyifuna. Ukuthi it's just that when you get comfortable in the stability, you always feel like I should be focusing on what's next. And obviously, yes, I am very ambitious and I want more things, but I am really honing in on just being present and letting God navigate my life as He has always navigated my life. So, you guys know cards of conversation. So those who follow me on Instagram know Woodsy, every day I have been posting these cards. I've posted the first and the second edition. And it's been bittersweet because I think when you look at these questions, you take them very lightly or you just whisk past them. But there have been people that eventually became like a small community where they answer them honestly. Umbono umuntu ekuphendula about their life, and you're just like, whoa, okay, maybe you should have told that to a therapist, because what am I gonna say to that? I'm just like, I'm gonna pray for you. But the space has been very vulnerable, to a point heartbreaking, because you realize how much people are carrying, and it makes you reflective of what, okay, no shem nginey'busiso ey'ningi, even the family structures, even um how they navigate life, because you get people be like, oh yes, finally you're so brave and so on and so forth. And to some degree I can say I'm brave, but it's also a constant conscious effort ukuthi every time ngi ngenza into entsha or noma ngenza into esengiyijwayele, but trying to be in the right spirit for it, I have to have a good self-talk towards myself, so that I can show up kahle. And even in the showing up kahle, there's always still voices that will be like, "Ay, ngeke awenzanga kahle laphayana, ay, ngeke awenzanga laphayana," so this community that these cards have created really highlighted how we really need to open up. We really need to sit with ourselves and sit with what happened to us and allow ourselves to acknowledge what our reality was and what that has led to, so that we are able to let it go. Like, if there's one thing I've realized also with the career that I do, and this was also pointed out by my sister a couple of years back, especially in Sase DG. She was like, yes, ever since you started acting, you've really become more vulnerable, like you cry more, you share more, and so on and so forth. I'm not I see that I used to be. And I can really give that to the inner work that I did, and just being honest with myself and just embracing who I am unapologetically, because I also realized there were heavy storylines that I had to carry in a particular role. And I realized, ukuthi, had I not worked on these particular parts of me, they would have hindered how I approach the character and its truth. So you need to do the work, and you don't necessarily have to be a performer, but you can be someone even in corporate, because it will affect how you move in those spaces. So do the work, guys. But ke angakanikeza ikhadi leni losuku. I just wanted to highlight ukuthi nje there's a method to these cards, and it's for your gain. I would really recommend that when you get these cards, open them up to your friendship groups, open them up to your family, so that you guys have these uncomfortable conversations, so that sometimes mangikubone ngathi grumpy, I'm not taking it personally, but I can understand mhlampe the burden or the phase that you're in mentally or psychologically, and then I'll be able to extend grace, or rather I can ask you, how do I then show up for you in this space that you're in, rather than with lona vele unexoti type of thing. Question for this episode is, what ways do you show up for others but fail to do for yourself? I've answered this one before, and it also made me realize, Guti, what a disservice people pleasing is, because it really steals you away from your truth and how you can express yourself better into spaces, or just in how you navigate izinto. So answer that question. And also, if you have people pleasing tendencies, you are not doing anybody a good service if you are accommodating other people's feelings over your own, because at some point that volcano is going to erupt, and you are not going to be able to manage your emotions. So the whole navigation of doing the work, and just making sure that the questions that you answer them truthfully, is to help you show up better in spaces. But that's it for this episode. So, sizobonana kwelandelayo. Toodles.